Well, we're here at the Rosenberg Museum, and we're looking at the 1900 Great Storm exhibit, and there's some photographs here and some information that we find very interesting because the buildings are actually still here. And I'm with, you are?
Christina.
Christina, okay. Behind me is a photograph of the Opera House. What can you tell me about it?
It is the oldest opera house in Texas. It survived the 1900 storm. It was renovated and it opened again in 1901. I believe it was October of 1901, which was really important because it kind of revitalized the area, and it also in recent times survived Ike. So it's pretty important. They have lots of people that came here like Chubby Checker.
Chubby Checker. Mm-hmm. How about that? Okay, well, thank you. Okay, next we're in front of, what's this building?
This is Sacred Heart, and this one is St. Patrick, and there are two churches on the island that survived the storm, still here today. Very fascinating architecture for these buildings, and they survived.
Okay, next on the list.
This one's my favorite because it shows all the destruction. It was the Rosenberg School, and it was built of brick, so it was a refuge during the storm. But then the ceiling caved in, the roof caved in, and that caused more destruction. I think 8 people died at that time. But I just like the way the light is on this and how much it shows.
Okay, next up.
This is the Galveston Orphans Home, is now the Bryan Museum. It said while it was destroyed during the storm, no one died at this site that took refuge here. And it is still standing today. It's a museum, the Bryan Museum, Southwest Art type museum.
Well, my two gracious hosts were chatting in the corner something really great about Cuba, and I said, stop, we have to put this on camera. But before that, we're in front of some pictures of a train. Tell me about that.
Yes, so one of the things that made the storm really upsetting is that there wasn't a lot of notice, right? And so, for example, there was a train that connected Houston to Galveston. At the time, Houston was not very big. Galveston was huge. So on the morning of September 8th, a train left Houston, but they never made it. The storm completely washed out the tracks, completely destroyed everything, and here's some remains of what they found at the end.
Okay, now you have some great facts about notification. Now, things are not like back then, like they are today, where we have satellites and we know days in advance of when it's going to happen.
Yes.
Tell me about what went on.
So, unlike today, as you just said, where we have notifications, storm watchers, all of those things, there were people who were very intellectual and very smart about tracking storms back in the day. However, things were not great politically between the United States and Cuba. As we know, Cuba is likely to see storms before the mainland of the United States does. So Cubans noticed and saw, hey, this giant storm is coming, we need to tell people. But the United States said, Cubans are too emotional and they're kind of superstitious. And so if you want to tell us about stuff, you have to send it to Washington, D.C. first for us to see if you actually mean it. And by the time Washington, D.C. got it, it took them too long to send it to Galveston. By the time Galvestonians knew, they were still sending trains off to Galveston and acting like things were normal.
They didn't know what was coming.
Yes.
Oh, how sad. And then you were mentioning some statistics about the number of casualties.
Yes, so officially recorded, we have a wall of people who are recorded, which is decades of work, by the way, of people we know passed away, which is anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000, but most estimate that it's probably closer to 10,000 or 11,000 because you don't know. There was no way to track everybody.
10 to 11,000.
Mm-hmm. It is the deadliest natural disaster in American history.
Wow. Who would have known? Gee, that's terrible. All right, thank you.
Wondering if you can't think back of some other things that might have happened during that time.
No, they were bringing people in
here.
I don't know, just terrible. The storm was over at midnight. A whole moon came out. This is pretty. Some people have been rescued in the trees over Tuckus.
And were the people in the trees now, were these live people?
Oh, yes.
All right, there weren't any bodies that had just floated up and gotten stuck. They were caught.
People who were saved holding on to those trees.
Now, you said that you saw the burning of the bodies. Was this all the way between here and the beach? Was it on the beach or was it on
I was
the...
right across the street on that corner.
Uh-huh.
On
On
the
the
houses over there, you know.
corner of 37th and P.
Yes.
Uh-huh. They didn't even bother to take them away.
Well, they had sent them out in the bay, you know, weights on them and took them out. They all floated back.
Oh.
So then they tried to bury some of them. Just so many, they got ahead and burned them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I'd stand out there and watch them burn the bodies, and I'd have nightmare and scream and holler.
I'll bet your mother wondered why you ever stood out there watching them in the first
She
place.
didn't hesitate. She spanked. She had a big hand. She just turned me over and spanked.
Because you were watching.
I know my brother got the axe and made a big hole in the floor so the water could come in.
During the 1900 storm.
The house was high.
You said that the house was new.
Yes, it was new. It was built in June, September.
It wasn't up on stilts or wasn't high raised.
Do you remember much wind in that storm when the water was rising? You just remember the water rise.
I don't even remember the water rising because, you know.
Because there must have been water in your house, you know.
Oh, yes, and I remember my brother taking the axe and cutting up the floor, you know, cutting places in the floor so the water could get in.
That was smart of him. Otherwise, your house would have been shifted off the foundation. Can you recall if there was much damaged area between this house and the beach?
Wasn't anything left. Clear space except that old Tucker place. Now those little houses have been built since, you know, that was all open space.
Was there much debris
Oh, yes.
piled up in front of
Dead
it?
bodies, it was curious with me because I stood out there and watched the burns of bodies.
Well, how long was it before you all got back to classes? Do you recall that? Did it seem like a long time? But you went back to San Jacinto School, is that right?
No, it was so badly damaged. We went to the Alamo School.
Well, now, were classes kind of crowded with the San Jacinto School population going over there?
I know they had morning school and
Separate classes.
yeah, it was so crowded.
Fire alarm. You're supposed to leave.
That again for the
False
camera.
alarm.
One more time.
False alarm.